Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis, updated commodities, work our way through the dollar yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That is where I dive deeper into these sectors, looking for potential investment vehicles. Sometimes some of them are risky, sometimes they're not as risky, sometimes they are super leveraged to the price moves that are coming. We do have a discount coupon code going on. It is Mayday, Mayday. If you're interested in signing up and seeing how I'm positioning for this bull market, we've got dividends companies, and we also have the highly speculative stuff. And we try to time our entry points as best as we can. So let's dive in here and take a look. We're starting with the DXY. And this is a big deal here because I think the market is pricing in a lower dollar and potentially lower yields. And looking at the chart, I can see how that could potentially come about. We've got big selling pressure, small little bounce here, big selling pressure, small little bounce. Now, what we're looking for, are we going to get a blast lower in the DXY? And again, that's going to come from yields dropping. We do have a lot of support underneath us, though, if we do go a little bit lower here. So we could go lower here in the short term. Longer term, we have support underneath us, and that's something that we'll have to evaluate if we do get down into that level. The 2-year yield, now this looks a little bit different, painting a little bit different picture here. We kind of got this structure that could be a shoulder head shoulder, but that also can fake a lot of people out, including myself. And that's why I don't try to trade the short term. But we have to look at more information. We've got this coming on up in a rising wedge. We've broken it to the downside. We've had 2 strong selling pressure candlesticks, and we've come up with 3 less strong buying pressure candlesticks. A lot of the times when I look at this, we see a rollover where we could see lower yields. What does this all mean? Well, it means that the Federal Reserve might maybe lower rates in the future, which will, in my opinion, propel precious metals to ludicrous levels. And the 2-year yield is suggesting, the pattern here is suggesting that we could roll over. I'm looking for selling pressure to show up here. That's what I'm looking for. If we are going to go higher, we're going to be looking for a big green candlestick to bust us back into this rising wedge pattern. We'll see what occurs. 10-year yield, it's got that same setup. Big selling pressure, small little rollover, and this could roll over here. We do have a bearish setup where we have a flag pattern that could break lower. And that would bring us back to, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We could come back to levels down here or something like that, or even all the way down here if there's a slowdown in the market. Is it going to reach that? I don't know. But projected move, maybe something like this, 3.5%, something like that would be a good guess. Off the cuff swag. And then the 30 years also got the same setup. We've got stronger selling pressure, weaker bounce, could have a rollover here, and that's going to be good for precious metals. Not that we haven't noticed. TYX, TNX ratio, we are still inverted. The curve kind of just went sideways today. This does look like to me that the curve could uninvert, which means that the short end of the curve could drop down while the long end of the curve is a little bit more stable. So we could see this uninvert upwards, and that is very good for gold and other things. There could be a problem in the market that I don't know of that needs liquidity. Whatever it is, we'll find out later. TLT bond prices slightly lower today because we had yields that were up a little bit, but this still looks okay to go upward. So bond prices going up means that yields go down. That's that rollover of yields that we're looking for. 2-year, 10-year. Now this still looks good to invert. Still looks good. We've broken out of the trend and it's been moving on up a little bit. So it looks like we are going to stay inverted. Gold's up 13 bucks, $13, $14. We're kind of at this high in a little bit of resistance here. Doesn't mean that we're just going to fall back over. It could, but we'll have to see what follow through we have over this trading week. That's what I'll call it. Silver continues to do quite well. We're at about $32 almost, and this thing has been ripping, absolutely ripping. I've got my circles there. Looking for fractal patterns is what I have here. And that's the fractal pattern that I've been looking at. But yeah, we've broken out of this pattern here, and we have been ripping to the upside. So the momentum's still to the upside, still looks good. A little bit of selling pressure with the wicks at the top there. Platinum getting a little bit of a selling pressure day to day, down 2.6%, but still looks all right. Not too worried. We're above a lot of the trend lines here. If you were to throw a trend line at the tips there, and we're just kind of doing a return move of the breakout, perhaps. We've got palladium also up 3%. My Lord, this thing's heating up too. And this does look like it wants to put in a bottom here. We've been tracking sideways, from this point forward, and we are starting to throw in accumulation candlesticks through here. So I do think that this is probably going to start working its way on up here soon. XAU to gold ratio. I told you guys about this line of happiness. Need to break this line for happiness. This is gold and silver mining companies versus gold. We've broken this downtrend line here, guys. And I told you when I break this, I'm going to get all sorts of bullish. Well, yes, I'm all sorts of bullish, guys. This is where this is where I hope my life will change. Because I am invested in a lot of these gold and silver mining companies at this bottom over here. I've been picking it off. How did I know that gold and silver was going to go up? Inverted yield curve, potential slowdown, which is an uninversion of the yield curve. Gold's been breaking to new, it broke out. It's at new all-time highs. I'm like, why wouldn't I be accumulating over here, guys? That's exactly what I did. CRB index up quite a bit, 2.75%. Looks like we've got a little bit of liftoff here. It wants to roll, baby. I have been studying a lot of fractals. The fractal looks like this one here, and then the rip. We've got another fractal pattern that is probably going to be similar to this pattern there. That is developing, and we are probably going to rip it. I think commodities are going to be in full stride here. You can also draw another one here, and that is that fractal that I'm looking for that I see over and over and over again. CRB versus the S&P 500, we are ripping to the upside. We have larger buying pressure candlesticks and all these little guys on the selling pressure pulling on back. So I'm hoping that this will be, and there's that fractal I'm looking for, where we start to rip here at some point over the next few weeks, months. GDX up 1%, ripping out of this flag pattern. Looking good, feeling good. GDXJ also ripping higher. We are starting to break through horizontal resistances. This is where the fun begins, boys. This is where the fun begins. And there's that fractal that I look for. This is ridiculous. This is a lot of resistance. You start breaking horizontal lines, that's when things start to heat up and get moving. SILJ also up quite a bit, 2.24%, looking pretty good. There's the fractal that I see all the time, the 3-hump consolidation fractal. And we're ripping. It's looking really good for SILJ. Momentum still to the upside. Crude oil down a little bit. Are we putting in that same fractal that I look for? Tough to say. We'll see. Kind of looks like a 1, 2, 3 hump consolidation. It looks a little bit, I don't know, not as clean as what I'll say. Is that the actual fractal? I don't know. Let's see what if we get any follow through to the upside here over the next few trading sessions. TTF gas, that's obviously getting the fractal. That's the little fractal that I'm looking for there, and then the break. Seeing it all over the place. So that looks good to go higher. Natural gas also looking pretty good. It's ripping. And zooming out, we've got a long way to go if this thing wants to keep rolling. This did bottom. There's a cycle bottom if you kind of measure these out. They're all about the same amount. You can put a sine wave or cosine wave, same thing. And basically, it's just cycling back and forth on a very consistent basis here. XOP, yeah, you know me. I think it looks pretty good. Again, I'm looking for that fractal. It's kind of like a double hump, a sell-off, your bottom point, and then you come back up and it does one of these. And we're right up against resistance. And another thing I look for is the big buying pressure and the small selling pressure candlesticks, which is exactly what we're seeing. I think that oil's hopefully soon going to RIP it, rip it. So that looks good. We've got energy service stocks looking like it's almost like a inverted head and shoulder bottom that we're starting to break to the upside. We'll see if we get follow through here, but it looks good too. We've got Sprott Physical Uranium Trust up 1.76%. We still have this ugly looking selling pressure move there, but the underlying equities don't look too bad in some of this stuff. And, one of the things that I could do is I could rotate it like this and throw it like this and take this away. And when you look at this pattern here, guys, um, if we sit up here right underneath this guy and we kind of do some of this, I think we're going to go into launch mode. Like we could have a big move. And I'll just kind of show you what I mean by that really, really quick. I'm going to back out. This is that fractal that I've been looking for. This guy here, that guy, before the launch of silver. And I'm just going to go over to uranium here. And if I kind of zoom in on this, and hopefully the fractal isn't too massive, you guys see what I see here? You see what I'm seeing? See that? It's like the same thing before silver ripped it. And I'm thinking, well, maybe we've got a similar situation here about to be brewing up in the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust here. Looks pretty dang good. We've got URA also breaking to the upside of this consolidation pattern. That looks pretty solid. Not a super strong candlestick today, but again, we're working our way on up. We've got URNM also working our way on up. And remember that pattern. I saved it, guys. What do you see here? Tell me if you see the pattern that I see. There you go, guys. Does that look kind of interesting, doesn't it? Doesn't that look interesting? Oh God, guys, if this is right, we're about to launch. URNJ also has that pattern too. It's breaking out, looking pretty solid here. URNJ versus URNM, we are playing around with the potential breakout. What does that mean? What that means is that we could see a breakout of the junior companies outperforming URNM. I'm looking for it, and we've been dancing here against this resistance. We break this resistance, see ya. So the junior companies, you're going to probably start to see them come alive. And we have been positioning in the juniors on the website here recently, and hopefully that pays off with a big move. Looking at TAN, we've got TAN that's still working its way. I don't know which way what, but if we do get some weakness in yields, we could get a break to the upside. But I'm not really betting anything on the TAN front. Copper continuing to move higher today. We are getting some resistance through here. You can see the wicks are starting to come out. So we could see a consolidation maybe here shortly for a little bit. I tend to get a little bit, gun shy when in terms of allocating new capital to moves this big, but um, this move could, and I'll just kind of throw this up here. It could look something, and I'm just going to do that, where maybe we project up here to like $6.75. It could go up there. Generally, the size of the move of this kind of break and the consolidation is what the projected move could be. COPX also just going vertical here, ripping it 2%, looking real strong for the copper miners. And there's that pattern again. I continue to see this guy here, that pattern. It's the silver pattern. It's very similar to it. I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but it's a pattern that I've seen where you see this stuff kind of overlaid. Lithium, it's also looking pretty good. That's that pattern that I'm talking about. That looks like it wants to rip. If we get a nice little rip here, we could get moving to the upside. REMX also doing that same type of deal here. And we are starting to move our way on up. S&P 500, sideways day to day. Absolute moonshot. There's that pattern again, guys. I keep seeing this stinking pattern there that we see there. That thing. See that thing? It's like it just keeps creating this pattern and then rips. Nasdaq's doing it too. Keep seeing that pattern and then the breakouts. And there's some patterns that are like right here before the breakout in commodities right now. Russell 2000. Maybe this thing's got that same type of setup here that we've got, but we'll see. This one, similar setup there. But we were slightly higher up against resistance at this time. KRE down 1.45% back to support. And we'll probably have support hold it there. Emerging markets, again, they don't like the stronger dollar, stronger yields, so they were down a little bit today. But this still looks really, really good for a big move to the upside. XHB up a little bit despite the increase in yields and dollar. And we've just a little bit of resistance is right where we're at. We've got MOO working its way on up barely, but basing out here, and I do think we're going to work our way on up. If you guys go look at like corn, soybeans, all the soft commodities, they look like they're ready to go higher, and MOO's going to follow it higher. We've got iron ore. Iron ore is looking good. It's going to roll its way on up, and we're slowly making our way higher. Looks like a bottoming pattern here, and it's going to work its way on up. Nickel ripping, almost up 6%. Look at that thing. It's up here. If you guys can't see it, you can also put it on all. That's what it looks like. Nickel's ready to rip. Looking good. We've got aluminum also slightly higher. That's broken out to the upside of the flag pattern. Baltic Dry Index up 1.5%, and I do think this is going to work its way on up with iron ore and coal right on support. Newcastle coal futures slightly lower, but again, we have broken out of the downtrend, and I think we'll work our way on up from here. It looks good. Bitcoin ripping out of its pattern, looking pretty dang solid here. Liquidity must be coming. That's what gold is saying. And there's that pattern again. That stinking pattern keeps showing up. Oops, got the wrong thing there. Sorry, guys. Like this pattern just, I don't know, it just keeps coming up where I see this thing kind of dip. There it is. You can kind of see how this aligns there. If I can draw it. It's squeezed up and stuff in some areas, but that pattern's real close to a lot of the launching patterns. So this looks like it wants to launch. Ethereum, that already broke out. I told you guys. I was like, if I'm going to buy it, I'd buy it right here. Go back and look at my other ones. And there it is. Boom. The herd psychology is strong in all of these. It's like they just can't get away from it. SMCI also working its way on up. It looks good to go higher. And then NVIDIA looking good to go higher. Higher, higher, higher. Lots of higher. There's that pattern too, if you look and really examine it. I'll just get rid of this stuff here real quick. Let's do, and what I'm talking about is this pattern here. And there's the pattern, boys. There it is. You see what I see now, and this is generally a before a pre-launch. So I don't know if more money is coming into the system or what, but I'm seeing this launch sequence over and over. But that's what I've got for today, guys. And yeah, I look at a lot of charts. I'll just say it that way. But give me a thumb up for the content first. Second, if you want to join the website, you can do that. Mayday is the coupon code. I do a lot of fractal analysis, similar to what I did a little bit today. I'm looking for setups. There's a lot of really good setups here, guys. There's a couple of companies that we recently entered, up over 100% in about a month's time or so. They're really ripping it in the precious metals sectors. I have a feeling that we've got a couple here on our hands in the uranium junior sector that's going to probably be up over 100% here at some point. And yeah, there's a lot of really good opportunities here. So lots to pick from if you are interested in joining. Lots of setups are occurring right now, and that's the time to get in. And then at some point, when these things start to rip, you're going to have less and less great opportunities ahead of us when these really good entry points start to kind of go by us. Now, there will still be entry points as certain sectors go up and down. Some pop, some come back, and they kind of go like this with time, different sectors. But yeah, there's a lot popping off here, I think, and look really good, what I'll say. All right, guys, that's what I've got for today, and we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.